Hello and welcome to another edition of the SGR Coffee Break. This is episode 28, and in case you're wondering, hell has frozen over. You may ask why. Carrie, of all people, has started watching Twitch. There were a few of us, if you ever remember the now defunct Evil Cast. Ross and I were big Twitch watchers, and Carrie, I believe, once said it would be a cold day in hell before she ever joined that bandwagon. Well, welcome to the bandwagon, Carrie. We have cookies and coffee and pie, and it's
Okay,
all good times.
in my defense, what I've what I said I didn't get was just watching regular people just play a game. Like how you'll just watch streamers play Destiny and stuff like that. I'm just like, okay, I don't get that. I don't know why you. I mean, I like watching my friends play games. Like when you came over, I enjoyed watching you play Dragon Age and Elite Dangerous. You know, I had no idea what was going on in Elite Dangerous, but just watching these random people just play through a game, I don't get it. I don't get the appeal in it. But but this is a little different because it was a fighting tournament, and which was the only way I could watch it. And I also I've never really understood esports in terms of I still don't think they should be called athletes. Professional gamers, I'm 100% on board for, but athletes kind of have issues with that. But I'm also not into MOBAs. So the idea of watching like the big esport League of Legends has never appealed to me. I've actually watched a few MOBAs be played. Like I watched Crossplay during Extra Life, and then I watched a friend of mine play a MOBA at E3, and I was like, this looks so boring. He goes, yeah, MOBAs suck. So I'm not that into it, but I mean, fighting games, it's probably been my only way I'll be able to watch people who are good at fighting games play, and so it kind of helps, you know, when you actually know the game. Like I know Mortal Kombat X, and I don't know, it was really cool just sitting there watching people just play these games and roll with all these combos and perform these brutalities that I don't think I'll ever be able to do myself. Although I found out I was doing the brutality idea wrong, so I'm like, oh, well, that explains. Like I thought it was something that you executed when they did the finish him. I didn't realize it's the final combo you do to kill them off.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not know that. Which I saw a few brutalities. Which brutalities I saw though weren't as awful as some of the fatalities.
It depends on the brutality, really.
Yeah.
Some of them get pretty bad, and some of them are just like, okay, whatever.
Because like most of the brutalities I saw, maybe because you see the same characters over and over, I think it was Kung Lao's brutality where he basically just kind of like flip rolled them over so hard, their head came off type thing. It was like this quick little head splat. Whereas I was watching the semis on Saturday, you know, most people were so into the zone that they weren't really doing fatalities. It was considered bad form or whatever to do it. It was kind of like, you know, trouncing. But like, because basically, you know, they would be done, they'd like unplug their controller and they're out. But there's this one fatality that I happened to see, and I was just like, you know, totally like doing that over my computer screen because it happened, of course, be when Gabe looked over. It was Melina's fatality on Raiden, where she's basically like stabbing him so hard with the sais that he's like trying to get away, which ends up pulling his torso away from his body, and his entrails come out, and she picks him up and just kind of soaks her body in the blood. I'm like, dear God, like, wow, okay, sweetie, you won, all right.
So, if you're curious as to why it is that Carrie was actually watching this, it was because, like this, let's just face it, this is like the Super Bowl of fighting game tournaments. EVO Evolution is what it's properly known as, but we call it EVO for short. Was happening, it went on last weekend. For those that don't know what EVO is, they had just over 7,000 unique entrants, and it's all fighting games. So it was like Smash, Melee, Smash Wii U, Killer Instinct, Tekken 7, Ultra Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, Persona, Ultra Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom. I think I got most of them.
I think you got them all, actually.
So there's 7,000 plus people showed up this year. This is like the biggest Evo they've had, and I gotta say, I gotta hand it to Capcom Fighters because I think they've done a lot as far as getting a lot more people interested into the fighting scene. Because now you have the Capcom Cup, you actually have like a decent pot now going to the winner. And before people go, well, the fighting game pots are like this one was like $30,000 if you $36,000 if you won like Ultra Street Fighter. I believe that was the same for Ultimate Marvel, and I think it was 25 to 30 grand for Mortal Kombat. And you can enter, like a player can enter as many fighting games as they want, as long as they got to pay for it. And obviously, you have to be skilled enough. So technically, if you were somebody that plays multiple games, you could walk out of there with 60, 90 grand if you're really good. And where people are like, yeah, but League of Legends, you get 100,000. That you got to remember, that's split among 5 people. This is one
Right,
person,
right.
so 30 grand for one person is a hell of a lot of money for
Well, for
playing a
some
game for
people,
them.
that's an annual salary, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just they make that in one weekend. And I think that they were saying that I think it was Sonic Fox, the one who won Mortal Kombat X at EVO. He won ESL, or somebody else won at ESL just the a couple weeks before, and they said that he got a $10,000 prize at ESL. So you got that $10,000 prize there, and then the $30,000 prize here. I mean,
And we're not even done. So
right.
it's you still have Capcom Cup, which not everybody's going to play in, but you have that going on. That happens at the end of the year. Plus, you have all these little tournaments. So there was like CEO that happened a couple weeks ago. You have the ESL stuff. You have Winter Brawls. A couple other ones that are just kind of small. They're not really big prize pools, but it's still a lot of these are still sanctioned. So I gotta hand it to Capcom Fighters. They're doing a lot to actually bring in some more interest in the fighting game scene. Also, Yomi, it's a conglomeration of a bunch of players, and they're just all fighting game fighters. And now you have a household, kind of like what you do in League of Legends, is you have the gamer house. Team Yomi is doing the same thing. They brought in a bunch of really skilled fighting game players, and you see them all over the place. In fact, they got really high in a lot of the standings in across the various games. So it's things like this that are starting to bring a lot of attention, along with streaming. Let's face it, streaming has been a huge boom to some of these games that we probably things that we would never see anymore. But man, just to hear, and it was huge because like I watched Evo last year, and it was not nearly as packed as it was this year. And it's I hope that Evo 2016 is even bigger. So and we see I was tweeting out or I was posting on the SGR Facebook page, just watching the concurrent viewers go up, and we hit at one point that I got to see was 220,000 people were watching the Ultra Street Fighter Championship, like the grand finals, and that's something that is just absurd in fighting games. We're happy if we see 15,000 people viewing, and by the end of the weekend, we're hitting League of Legends numbers. So it was really cool. So the day started off. Evo started off. I believe you were watching Ultra Street Fighter and Smash Melee, correct?
Uh, on Friday was the only day I watched the Ultra Street Fighter, and I've not played Street Fighter since. What did we decide it was like the SNES? I was like, I can't
Yeah.
remember if it's the NES or the SNES, but I think I was like fodder for my friend to practice because he was always Guile. Just the only reason why I remember that is because he always combed his hair before he started to fight, and which really kind of fits my friend in many ways. But so I'm not as familiar with Street Fighter, so this was an interesting kind of crash course into it. See what happens when I don't remember to turn off my phone. Gosh. Okay. Anyway, so I had a hard time kind of like totally understanding what was going on, but so I was watching the pools, and something that cracked me up was this one guy. I think I IMD was like, hey, he's playing like me, because he got the guy down. It was just fireball, fireball, fireball,
Yep.
while the guy was down. And people started booing. I'm like, hey, he's working the system. I mean, you're down, you can't get back up. Sorry, that's just kind of what's going to happen. Um, But what I started noticing with Street Fighter was like, so the big thing with Street Fighter is to be able to get your combos down and not only get them but land them while you're trying to avoid the other person, launching fireballs at you to get you to back up. And but on the converse side, when I'm watching Melee, watching those pulls, like, okay, so Melee is not entirely about the combos. Like, they're there, but it's not really about that. It's about controlling when you're in the air or getting the other person in the air. Because when they'd both be in the air, it would crack me up watching them, like, try to see who could get to that edge first. It was like this scramble of who could, do the quad jump back onto the edge and then be able to knock the other person off. Because we're watching Star Fox standing there, you get your kind of back up. As soon as he grabbed a hold of the ledge, the person's like, bam, knock him back off, and just kind of stood there until he did it so hard that, he blows up in the air and screams, and then that's it. So, but that's what I noticed. Like, I didn't really see that many combos. Like, not even in the finals. The only time I really saw the combos that were fierce to do the KO to kick them out was when this one person did ice climbers, and they would just he would get the ice climbers to grab onto them, so they basically grapple him and pound the crap out of him to the point he would fly off. But so that was a big, and then in a Mortal Kombat 10, what I noticed there was also mastering the combos and also when to properly land them and when it's good to get them into the corner. Because like Street Fighter didn't notice as much they're trying to get to the corner, but Mortal Kombat was all about forcing somebody into a corner and seeing if they could possibly get out.
It's a lot. Mortal Kombat is a lot more corner heavy. Street Fighter, you still have that, and there are certain characters that once they're backed into the corner, it's basically they either have to fight to get out of it, or you just basically consider it a loss. So let's see. I was able to watch all of Friday. I ended up leaving on Saturday. I got to watch like the first couple rounds of the Mortal Kombat pools, but then we took off to go to Wisconsin, and then I didn't come back until later on Sunday afternoon. So I got to catch Ultimate Marvel and Street Fighter on Sunday, and then I just kind of watched stuff on replay. So Street Fighter started off with 2,200 players.
That's basically a lot of pools. My God.
Street Fighter basically ran from it started at about like 10 o'clock our time Central, and ran until almost midnight or just after midnight. I forget. It was a lot. Like I was watching Street Fighter the entire fucking day. It was nonstop. So. And they did that because they had to whittle the pools down to top 8. So that's
no. I mean the pools. I don't remember how many they take to the. But they actually, because they had so many people, they actually had quarters and semis on Saturday.
Yeah. So.
And then the top 8 was Sunday.
So it was a lot of Street Fighter, and what's really interesting to me between watching Friday and then ending on Sunday is. At least on Street Fighter and also on Ultimate Marvel, is that you'll notice a lot of character diversity. You get a lot of different characters. You also get a lot of stage diversity. By the time Sunday rolls around, you pretty much have what people consider the top tier characters, and everybody's playing in the training stage. And like on Street Fighter, most people are playing in Winter Wonderland. On Ultimate Marvel. Mortal Kombat's kind of nice because people just chose random, so you always ended up with some new stage. But you still ended up with pretty much solid character choices in that one too. But that's what I really enjoyed most on Friday is just seeing what people were going to bring and what they thought was going to work, and you got to actually see, some new play styles, some new characters that you're like, how would I actually work this character? Like, within the first I think 2 or 3 hours, I saw 2 or 3 DJs. On Street Fighter, and it's just DJ is one of those characters that people pull out for funsies but never really take into a tournament, and to see him actually see players using him and winning up until they started getting to some of the higher skilled players, that was kind of cool. So I very much enjoyed that. But it was by the time Friday night rolled around and they were like, yeah, we're done, we're out, I was just like, oh my God, I'm so burned out on all this Street Fighter knowledge at this current moment. And just but it was cool because there are players that I really wanted to follow. EGPR Balrog is like the guy that I follow a lot because he's just a really cool guy. And so, watching him and then seeing him advance through winners and then get knocked into losers and then start making his way through losers, that was pretty cool. So I very much enjoy it. I never loaded up a Smash game at all, so I can't even talk about Smash.
Melee, I never watched the Wii U version because I've never played it, but I still can't believe that they used Melee because that's GameCube. But I mean, I loved Melee back then.
Melee
And of
is
course,
basically considered like the best of the Smash series, so that's why it's any tournament that they have that they basically there's always a Smash Melee. So
but my son, like he was watching it, and he was like, "Well, Mom, when I'm 18, can I play Mortal Kombat with you?" I was like, "Yes, when you're 18, we can play Mortal Kombat together." And then I'm watching Melee. He's like, "I want that." I was like, "Well, I have that. Well, can I play that with you?" I was like, "Yes, we can play Melee together. That is not a problem." Of course, he's like, "I'm going to be Pikachu." I was like, "You be Pikachu. That's fine." I guess
Pikachu, I choose you.
my big beef with watching the Melee was that too much Star Fox. Too many people were Star Fox, and the guy who Star Fox is who ended up winning. Everyone was booing the guy who was playing against because he was Jigglypuff, and I looked up why people booed for Jigglypuff, and they're like, "Well, because he dodges." He's like, "That's so." I mean, so it's not as like big of an action as you want, but if that's what that guy's playstyle is, who cares? Like the booing really bothered me, and
Yeah, it's all part of.
yeah, well, I
It's all
complained
part of it.
about it, and they're like, "Oh, but there's a reason behind it." It's like I don't care what the reason behind it is or what tradition is. That's classless and rude. And the taunting was a little much. Like sometimes, like you could tell it was for fun. Like they were both laughing about it, but this one guy, like in the Mortal Kombat, the semis, taunted this kid, and this kid was like, this guy was older than me, and the kid was 13. I'm like, he's 13. Let it go. Even if he taunted you first, you're like 30 years older than him. Let it go.
Oh, there's
Um,
all kinds of shenanigans going on. I saw it like Evo at the very end did like a little montage of all the winning stuff and
mhm.
things that had been going on throughout Evo. And like, I think it was in a Smash game. I don't know if it was Wii U or Melee, but like one guy gets up and undoes his belt and throws his belt on the ground and takes his shirt off and lays it on his competitor. And they're still at the character select screen. And his competitor looks at him like, what the fuck? And then he takes his shirt off and everybody goes wild. And it's like, it's just, yeah. I mean, the taunting kind of thing, that's something that just you got to deal with in the FGC because it's what happens and the boos happen, and especially if you'll notice boos come up a lot if you know that a player is really good at two character, like if they have X character and then they have a pocket character and they have one more that they may be working on and then they just choose some random shit character and you're just like what, why? Because at that point you're basically anybody that's watching it is saying, yeah, that person is basically just throwing this fight away because they're not playing their strong characters or they're not counter picking or
Okay, well, but that's their choice. No reason to boo it because you're not seeing them use their top character. If they want to be a dumbass and take a risk, so let them.
well, that's the way I see it. But this is just part of what happens in tournaments. It really is.
Well, correct me if it's at any time I was in the pools mostly because in the pools, they don't have the big stage set up. But anytime anyone used casting and won, someone from the crowd always yelled, "Do the selfie!" Every single time. I only saw one guy actually do it. As soon as he did it, he unplugged his controller and walked away. He's like, "I'm not going to watch this." And somebody else, like they yelled, "Do the selfie!" And he turned around and flipped them off. And he didn't even do the bubble head. He just, unplugged his controller and left.
So, did you get to watch? I take it you watched Mortal Kombat a bit on Saturday.
Yes, I watched the semis all day, pretty much all day on Saturday when I could. We had other things going on, but and then so the finals were that night. So I watched the semis like all morning, and then that night I stayed up until midnight watching the finals. What was the finals on Sunday?
No, the MKX ones were. No, the MKX was on Sunday. It was at like 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific.
Okay, Yeah, that's right. Because it was like I knew because it was right after I got back from church. So we got back from church and changed clothes. Like, okay, I'm watching the finals today. And Sean's like, "This is what you're doing today?" I'm like, "Yeah, you have a problem." I had my Surface set up, to stream it, and well, that's right because AMC had Back to the Future
Mhm.
trilogy all day. So the kids could watch that, and Sean was happy, and he took Gabe to play golf. I was like, "This is great." The baby's napping, and I'm watching the finals without any disturbance. And yeah, I was up till midnight watching the MKX semis.
Yeah, and that was I watched this one yesterday, the day before, something like that, and like I watched these in a really bad order because like I watched the finals, so I know who won, and then I was like, oh, I wanted to know how Sonic Fox got knocked into losers, and then you told me, and I was like, well, I want to see this now because you had made a comment. It was like Sonic Fox just wasn't there for that fight, so I jumped.
He never had command of the fight at all.
I was well, I so I've watched it, and to me, it was like Sonic Fox just wasn't there. That wasn't. I've watched Sonic Fox now at a couple tournaments, and to the people that shit on this kid, I mean, he's a really good MKX player. He really understands it, and to see him, he started off with Katana, really didn't do well there, and then I watched him pull out Eric Black, and it's like, okay, so you should be really good because this is like your main character, and the combos weren't there. He was like he just wasn't pressuring. To me, it was like he just wasn't there because you watch the next fight. It was
Mm-hmm.
he's now in losers, and you watch him in the next fight, his very first fight in losers, and all of a sudden he's just kicking ass. And it's like, okay, either he didn't have your coffee or something, but he clearly he got woken up for that one. So, and ultimately Sonic Fox goes through and wins the final. And I believe he played both Katana and
And Aaron
Aaron
Black.
Black at
What
that
was
one.
was really funny was when he was doing the losers final, because he had is he the losers final or when he reset the bracket in the grand finals? I don't remember. But he started playing Katana, and he was playing against was using Kung Lao, and he was just wiping the floor with Kung Lao. And so then that guy changed it to the Buzzsaw
Yeah.
Kung Lao, and then started pummeling back Sonic Fox, and Sonic Fox immediately changed over to Aaron Black, and that was it. And so it was kind of cool watching because we were commentating about how the matchups can really change and just doing a subtle difference with the variations. Why they think that's so cool with the variations, how the subtle change can make a difference in your gameplay, which makes me now it's like really because I didn't think the variations make that much of a difference, but just like how little I've really played with Mortal Kombat X. Not that I haven't wanted to, it's just I've had other things to do, and because like I knew that there was different attacks and there's different weapons, but I had no idea like just the differences someone made because I think someone it was in the finals in the loser bracket they chose Noxious Reptile and the commentators were like that's a mistake. Like you should choose this other version of Reptile. Noxious Reptile is not good for that. And sure enough, the guy was like out rather quickly.
Yeah, there was also a match where somebody chose Noxious Reptile, and the commentators were like, I don't know about that. But then the guy playing Noxious Reptile actually won because of the DOT that happens, or the area of effect, actually. The AoE from Reptile having that poison cloud around him. So this is one of those things where he got his opponent in the corner, and like they're just standing there in the corner, and his opponent is taking damage because of Noxious Reptile. So yeah, it really is to see how quickly they'll change up variations,
Mm-hmm.
and see just how much of a difference that can make, and you know it's ridiculous. And the nice thing is that we're actually starting to see MKX mature, so players are actually getting very accustomed to it now, so they're knowing what to look for, and
Mm-hmm.
as patches come out and characters get normalized is what they're calling it in
Right.
MKX. They don't call it buffs or nerfs. It's there as characters get normalized. You're actually starting to see those characters. Like I didn't see a whole lot of Bojitsu going on. They're just
No, I didn't really see Kujin at all.
and when the game first started, that very within the first 2 weeks there was like Winter Brawl or something that happened, and they had MKX there, and that's all you saw was Kung Jin Bojitsu, and it was just nonstop. And it's like, okay, well, this is clearly the best character, and now we're several months after the release, and now we're like, oh, okay, so now we're getting some Kung Laos and some
Hmm.
Kanos, and we still have a lot of Sonias. I did notice that Sonia's
I
like,
didn't really see very many. So I saw a lot of Cassie Cage. I did see a few people using Tanya, and Tanya was actually all the way up in the loser bracket. So someone brought Tanya all the way up in there, and that was pretty cool.
and now seeing
But
Katana being pulled out, that was really cool to see that.
yes,
Still quite a few Quan Chis and Shinnocks.
oh
So
my gosh, I got so sick of Shinnok, and I was actually really really glad that Shinnok never made it to the finals because I was so tired of Shinnok. And even the commentators were like, I really hope that the finals is not all Shinnok, and instead it was actually a really good variety.
yeah,
I thought in the finals. Although they did make one comment about one character that's like, we haven't seen this person today. It's this person all tournament. I was like, oh my gosh, you're right, and that was Kita. Really, nobody
yeah.
played
Nobody
as.
nobody played Takeda.
I saw a couple of Tenchis. Now, I wasn't able to watch the pools, so I didn't see any Sub-Zero Scorpion, but I'm sure they were there
Yeah, I saw a
in
couple
the
Sub Zero
pools.
or a couple Scorpion matches. I'm really trying to think. I did not, and I remember our commentator making a comment about how Takeda went from kind of a bad character to a good character, and now he's kind of back to a lame character. So that's why we're not seeing Takeda anymore. So I
Nope, I
also,
didn't see Jackie Briggs either.
yeah, I did see some Jacks, but I didn't see any
Yeah, I
Jackie.
saw
But I
some
haven't
Jacks.
really seen a whole lot of. I saw Jackie when the game first came out, and people were still kind of playing around. But she kind of fell off the.
Yeah, I did see a lot of Ermax,
Yep.
which I'm like, oh, I can't stand him. But it was so funny because they would always, every time someone played Ermac, they would do the classic skin, which was just a reskinned Sub-Zero, just in the red and black. I'm like,
Yep.
wow.
Yep.
I did see someone play Sonya in the classic Sonya, which
Yeah.
was kind of, to me, that was kind of cool.
I did find it interesting that when I started watching on Saturday morning, the couple little bits that I got to see out of the pools is that Shinnok wasn't even unlocked. Like there was no characters unlocked. So I was like, wow, that's really odd for
Yeah,
being a
well,
tournament.
well, that was a mistake because it was really funny because the guy, it was like really early. We tried to load up Shinnok and it was like, you have to complete the story mode, so then they had to bring like someone to help over. And somebody was like, well, if you'll just be patient with us while we play for the next, when we play story mode for the next 4 hours, we'll get all these characters unlocked for you.
Yeah. Because and then when I watched the finals, I noticed that there was a guy playing Jason. I was like, oh, they must have switched PlayStation 4s because
Yeah, yeah, cool. Well, because that team, well, the match got moved. Like they brought in other people who didn't need that, and so they had to switch it out. So kind of embarrassing, but because yeah,
so
because people will want to play as Shinnok. I did see someone use Jason in the
yep.
either the semis or the finals.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think it was in the semis.
Yeah,
So let's see. So that basically gets MKX. What do you think overall as
it
you were
was,
watching it?
I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely gonna I have now subscribed to this channel so I can see if there's so I can keep my eyes out for any other fighting tournaments. It made me really want to do nothing but practice mine to just to try to compete, just because it's so sad I didn't see any girls there, and I don't know, and it may just be that fighting games are just, I mean, most girls maybe not just be typically into fighting games.
Uh,
But,
there's there's actually a couple female players. I can say that. The and I'm just gonna say it. I'm not trying to be sexist or racist or whatever you want to label me as, but they generally never make it out of like the first couple rounds. So,
yeah,
um,
which is what
and
would happen if I went. Like they would just, I'd be knocked in the losers bracket
what I would
immediately. But
what I would really like to see is that, especially in the Street Fighter scene, because the Asian players just kick serious
oh
ass.
my gosh, they do.
What I would really like to see is a female Asian player come in and see how far she gets, because those Asian kids, man, they either win the event or they just get really, really far, and they push a lot of players to their brink. So it would be really interesting to see how well an Asian female would do if she were to play. And it just, I don't know if it's, you know, a couple years ago there was a big hoopla in the FGC because one of the main players, it was an EVO tournament, made a really snide remark about having females there, and he got all kinds of backlash. And I don't know if it's just that that ladies or women and girls are afraid to come in because of, let's face it, it's like adolescent hour.
Well, yeah.
You have so much testosterone there. But every time I watch like some of the smaller tournaments, there's always females in the audience, so they're watching. And even Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom has
The female
the
commentator.
female commentator, and I forget her name.
I just know like it's Persia XO.
Yeah, that's it. It's Persia and Yipes who usually that do that. You know, and she brings a lot of excitement when she's. I know I generally turn chat off on Twitch on all channels just because chat gets stupid, but every time she comes on, like chat just gets really dumb, and I'm like, you know, she's there, she's very hyped about the game. She obviously
She knows
enjoys
what
it.
he's talking about.
Yeah, and I was like, we need more people like her in there, and maybe we'll start seeing some diversity. Ultra Street Fighter 4, there were a couple females. They were very much in the early pools. You caught them very early in the morning. By the time mid afternoon rolled around, they were pretty much gone, and you didn't get to watch their losing fights because a lot in Ultra Street Fighter, a lot of those matches also took place off screen, off of stream because there was just so much going on.
Right.
So you know, you would see a couple of them come on, and there may have been more. We just never saw them because they weren't on stream. So, and even with MKX, I'm pretty sure that game was going on Friday as well, while they whittled down the player base, and you just, you know, you never saw them because they weren't on stream. But yeah, I do admit I would like to see a lot more, and hopefully FGC, you know, maybe we can drop some of the testosterone and just kind of, you know, be welcoming and get some more diversity. But anyway, MKX, you very much enjoyed it. Loved seeing the combos. Did you learn anything from it?
I learned how much I suck at it. I learned how much I did not know about it. I'll put it that way. Like for example, like I learned how the brutalities work. You know, it's not like there's really an instruction manual that says the brutalities happen. You can't execute them at the finish, which is what I thought you did. You have to. It's during. It's basically you have to time it so that it's the final
Yep.
assault. Um, uh, I mean, I still need to catch up on the terminology because they were saying a lot of things like I have no idea what you're talking about, but that's also my inexperience. I tried watching Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and I'm so out of the watching Marvel that I was like, I have no idea what is going on. There's just so much on the screen at once, and it's insane. And like,
I think I've warned you of that too. I was like, if you want to see
yeah,
crazy, watch Ultimate
yeah.
Marvel
Oh
because
my
that shit
gosh.
just gets, because that is the one game. I mean, we talk about combos. Ultimate Marvel and
Well,
Killer
because
Instinct
you
are
got the
both.
tag team combos. With
Oh
Marvel,
yeah.
that's the thing. It's just like they bring in three people. Like, why can't I keep track of you? I forget it.
But Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3, actually the whole Marvel versus Capcom series is so dependent on those on combos, and it's so bad that if you get one hit and you can keep your combo going, you can take characters out. Like you can watch an entire character's life bar go to nothing off of one combo string. But this is also one of those games where if you drop that combo, your opponent can instantly turn the tables and kick your ass. I've watched players come back with one character half life, take his opponent out who had three characters all full life, and come back and win because their opponent dropped a combo, and this player was like, okay, got his combo strung together, took out one character, knew how like would do the read correctly, so that way when the next player came in or the next character came in, they automatically had a counter already for it,
Mm-hmm.
and just they would win. But yeah, this is a game that is so insane to watch because it's so fast paced. The combo strings are so ridiculously long, and there's so much flashy things going on. Like as players get tagged in, and you're watching meters, and yeah, to me, it's a lot of fun to watch. Uh, it's not something that I would ever really want to try to do competitively, and
Mm-mm.
you get so I got by the time the finals rolled around, I was so sick and tired of seeing White Magneto, White Sentinel, White Doctor Doom in Winter Wonderland because people seem to think that if you have white characters in a white world, it's harder to see. Well, it maybe when things get really going, but it got so old. It's like, oh, you're going to choose White Doom again. Okay, great. Oh, it's going to be Winter Wonderland. Okay, great. That's fine. Yeah, can we just get? It was like the one time I was like, can we just do a training stage? Because it's really what I want. Uh,
But but I witnessed that same thing kind of happening with Mortal Kombat 10, with which or Mortal Kombat X, with what you're saying about dropping the combo,
mhm.
because it was I think we were talking about Sonic Fox and Honeybee. Am I correct?
Yeah,
The Honeybee was just like pounding on Sonic Fox, got him in the corner, was just relentless, and Sonic Fox had like itty bitty health bar left, like he was about to lose that round, and Honeybee dropped the combo, and it was just like as long as he just gave Sonic Fox a present, because all of a sudden Sonic Fox was just up and just unleashed, and I watched him wipe out because he just kept doing all these combos with Kitana constantly and wiped him out.
yep.
It, like I just started going, oh my gosh, I can't. I mean, because the way he was able to read that and instantly react, I would love to be able to react that well, just to be able. But I know that's also from how many hours they play this game a day to get so used to how characters react to things and how you can sense what's going to happen next. And because they probably play this game like what 10 hours a day,
Oh yeah,
and
easily.
prepping. It's their job. I mean, literally, that's what they do. They get up, roll out of bed, work on their characters all day. They probably don't get to play anything else, and then that's their choice. And like this is my choice. But yeah, I think it'd be fun to actually go to one of these tournaments and just kind of watch the insanity.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. And there was a new one, a new thing for Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3, and that was we had a non-American actually win.
You know,
And
non-Asian.
no, he was Canadian.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to. It was Kane Blue River.
Oh, you're talking about Ultimate. Oh, you said
Yeah.
Street Fighter, I
Oh,
think.
sorry. Ultimate Marvel
Marvel,
versus Capcom
yes.
actually had that's been dominated by the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot
In
of tournaments.
Melee, the finals was funny because it was all American and two Swedes, and it was the Swede who won with his freaking Star Fox.
Craziness, right?
So
Just
much, so
absolutely
much Star
insane.
Fox. Oh, it was really funny when I was watching the pools and I was watching someone use Princess Peach, and they're like, "That's a mistake. You should never go in Princess Peach." And she kicked Star Fox's ass. Like that's kind of funny. Oh no, it was Marth's ass. She just whipped up on Marth. Like, well, I could say I saw Princess Peach kick Marth's ass today. I never thought I would say that, but I did see a lot of sheets, a lot of Pikachu's, a lot of sheets, a lot of Star Fox. Not too much Star Fox. Some Jigglypuff. No Mario. No Luigi. I didn't see any Donkey Kong, which was funny because every time I played Donkey Kong, so I mastered this one combo he had. You couldn't touch him if he was able to execute it. If he would just do the ground pound, you just sit there and just pound the ground over and over again, and you get anywhere near him, and you're going to get hit and thrown off. So, but I guess obviously some people have figured out a way to get past that, or they've normalized that, so you can't do that anymore. That's what I would do at the time.
Let's see. So we had let's see. I also watched I did watch the KI stuff, but I don't follow KI enough to know all the players. I just know that to me, by the time I was done, it's like, yeah, I kind of want to get this for my Xbox One just to play it out and see. Because I mean, I enjoyed KI when it was on the Super Nintendo. I can't really comment on anything that I think was really badass or great because, like I said, I don't follow it. I watch it when it's there, but it's not a game that I tend to follow a lot. So, I mean, it looked cool. It was a lot of fun to watch. Congrats to everybody that was in that. So, I didn't watch Persona yet, and I haven't watched Guilty Gear, so I can't comment on those. I
I watched the
did.
Guilty Gear finals, but I don't understand it at all. So that wow, look at all the anime.
Oh yeah, the anime games are ridiculous, and those games are, yeah, it's like. Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom on a whole new at a
Yeah.
whole new level of crazy because there's so much shit. Especially if you watch Persona, that game is ridiculous to watch because there is so much shit going on. You're just like, what the fuck just happened? And somebody's dead, and you're like, okay, that was cool. I don't know. I watch them because they're entertaining.
Yeah.
The commenters. I didn't watch the Tekken 7 stuff either because I've just kind of
I don't know
fallen out.
anything about Tekken, so I
I've
don't know
kind
what
of
to really
fallen out
tell
on that
you.
one. So I'll move on to the big one then for me, and that was Ultra Street Fighter in the finals.
I couldn't stay up. I think I left at 10.
Oh my god, those finals in so the finals went on for I think just over 3.5 hours, 4 hours almost.
Hmm.
We had time called at character select because Infiltration had just gotten his ass beat, and they sat there and I forget who he was playing at this point. I think it was Gamer B, and they both were so mentally drained by the time they got to this point that they both were like, "We're gonna sit at character select." They started drinking water. They were like wiping their brows. They were just, you could tell that they were beat. And then Infiltration sat there for so long that they actually pulled out a clock on him and said, "You have 60 seconds to lock in your character and get this shit going." Because it was a good 5 minutes that they were sitting there just at character
Hmm.
select. But the last, I would say the last five matches. So you had let me bring it up real quick. Up here. So you had Momochi, you had Gamer B, Infiltration, Nemo, II, Takeda, Balrog, and Knuckle Dew. Basically, kind of rounding off the last couple rounds. It was nice to see PR Balrog get in top 8 because he had claimed that he had retired, and I hate when gamers are like, "I'm retiring," but PR Balrog got a full time job. Basically, left the Street Fighter scene for about a year. You didn't
Hmm.
see him at any more events. And then I think it was CEO this year that all of a sudden he's just there. And you're like, wait, I thought you weren't around anymore. And it was really good to hear that, they did like how many times can you beat somebody?
Hmm.
And so he beat like 25 people. Then he got, I don't think he won CEO, but he got like top two. Uh, and he finished Evo at a top 8, and he's been pretty consistent anytime that he's ever been at Evo to finish in top 8. So he got 7th place. But when there's the II fight where things really started getting insane. Where after Balrog is knocked out as pretty much like your last American hope, and it all turns into Asians at this point. And man, would they go back and forth. Their fights just, I couldn't imagine being a commentator because there was so much technical stuff going on. And all of a sudden, some of these kids are pulling out moves that you're like, I didn't know that was a counter. I didn't know that you could actually do that there. And you're watching uh, FADCs like crazy, and you're seeing moves being canceled in midair. And it just, man, those last 5 fights or so, just watching them, you're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. And to watch Gamer B go from losers and basically make a run. And Gamer B never stopped. Like he never really got to see him get up out of his chair because he would win his fight, he would be in the next round. So you had to fight the next round. He'd win that one, had to fight the next round. He got all the way up into the winners and reset the bracket on that. And then had to, so Gamer B just totally destroying on a level that is just like, okay, this is crazy. It was interesting because Infiltration is known as like he doesn't have a main. The
Hmm.
entire roster is his main. He's that good at just picking people. And this is one of those times where you saw him pick Abel. And Abel's not a character you see in grand finals. Or it's not something you see in championships. You see Abel being used to get up to championships, but in championships, you generally don't see them. He pulls out an Abel, and everybody's like, okay, let's see what he's going to do here. And he actually won with an Abel. And you're like, okay, guess he's really busted that out. Uh, Out of everything that happened though on the finals, between the time resetting, Gamer B making his run up, the most heartbreaking thing to see was it was the last 3 rounds of grand finals. So Gamer B has already reset the bracket. Momochi's up by 2. Gamer B's got 1 on the board, and all suddenly a pause happens. And when that happens, It could be, sometimes you hit a button and you pause it. You automatically award that round to your opponent. So
Mhm.
it turns out Momochi uh, had his stick had pressed start, so automatically awarding Gamer B uh, the round. And at this point, it's at now that it's at tournament point for Momochi. And what happens is so Gamer B walks up, punches Momochi, so that way he's Gamer B just has a little bit of the life lead. This way, they all keep their their meters at where they're at because they don't want to lose that. And Momochi's controller hits start again. You had a fucking controller failure in grand finals at the very last round. And that was heartbreaking because
I heard that. I heard that the fight stick broke,
so
which
Evo
is
was kind enough to
awful.
Evo was kind enough to be like, let's get him another controller, and everybody's like, no, no, no. So eventually, Momochi was fighting on a Razor stick. That's the one that failed, and then they brought him up a Mad Cat stick, and he finished it off. Momochi won, but there was a good 4 to 6 minutes or so that both players also only had this. We have a pause. There, also only your focus is getting taken away because you've got a broken stick. You got to figure out what the hell's going on. Momochi comes back and wins it, but to me, what you could really tell is you could tell that he didn't want to win this way. Like to him,
Yeah,
you could tell he was really upset that his stick broke at that particular point. If it had been at any point before this, it might have been okay, but grand finals, you're kind of fucking up Gamer B's flow because and it's a technicality, right? It's not like Momochi did this on purpose. At the same time, you could really tell when he was standing up there holding his trophy, he was just not happy about it. And even the audience, when they got to Gamer B and they were awarding him the stuff, like the audience just stood up and roared and gave him the thing and gave him all the support. It's just really hard to see that happen at that particular stage, and it just
well, I don't think that they should have let him go on because it's like the stick broke. Well, it's the same thing. Like in any athletic sport, when something breaks, sorry, if you're out of like the tennis players, you're out of tennis rackets. Well, you should have brought some more rackets. It's I don't know, like
I
it's
was
just
really
one of those
surprised that
things.
there wasn't more EG people up there to be like, yeah, here, take my stick and play. Uh, and I don't know where he got the Mad Cat stick from, but that when that happened, there was just like you could tell everybody was just like, this fucking sucks
Mhm.
that this had to happen here, and Evo had to make the call to be like, we're gonna if you can get a stick, you can keep playing. So thankfully they got him a stick, but you could definitely tell that when they came back to fight that last round, that Gamer B had lost
The momentum and
that momentum that had been
yeah,
carrying him through so many rounds to this point, and it was hard. That was a really hard one, and I hope it's something that we don't see that often. You do get pauses every now and then in a lot of games. Sometimes you get a missed input or whatever, and your
mhm.
finger hits the start button. But this, because it was a stick failure, man, that's hard. And I will be curious to see if Momochi keeps using Razer. I know that Evil Geniuses is sponsored by Razer, so there's kind of that whole thing you got to do that. But at this point, I would not be happy with Razer. And I
Oh
did
yeah,
see a lot of Razer sticks, so you know maybe it's just a fluke. Who knows?
right.
But yeah,
Well, who was the guy who celebrated too early? Was that in the finals?
uh, no, and I forget it wasn't. Street Fighter. I think it was Guilty Gear
Okay.
where the guy he'd run a string of combos because I remember seeing a glimpse of it. And I do believe it was Guilty Gear, but he'd started a string, got up to start celebrating, and his string didn't didn't land that final blow, and the his opponent was just like fuck you and just went ahead and beat him.
Yeah. See, you don't celebrate until you see the characters do the winner's
Yeah.
dance.
So
Yeah.
overall,
It was a good experience. I really enjoyed it. I am officially a fighting game community fan.
so I'll have to send you the link for Team Spooky because Team Spooky is the one that streams a lot of the other tournaments actually.
Okay, cool.
So you can get in that. ESL also does a couple of them now and then, but Team Spooky's the one to watch, uh, and it's generally Mortal Kombat now, Street Fighter, and Ultimate Marvel. Get some Guilty Gear in there too, some Persona every once in a while, but overall you enjoyed it. So welcome to the Twitch streaming club,
No, 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 no. I'm
Twitch
not really.
watching club.
No, watching fighting game esports. I can't really call myself a Twitch streaming person unless I sit there and just have like streams of random people playing games all day, like what you do.
I don't. Oh, hey, it's that first taste, right? It's that little bit that gets you addicted, and the next thing you know, you're gonna be like, I should check out some other Mortal Kombat players. I wonder if they're actually streaming. Oh, look at that! There are some Mortal Kombat players. Oh, I'll watch them just play random people. Okay, it's okay. It's okay, Gary. The pool's warm. It's fine. You can do more than just dip your toes in it.
If I did, it would just be the fighting game stuff. I just have no interest in watching someone sit there and, especially someone I don't know, watching them play like Dragon Age or The Witcher or really any other game because I want to experience it for myself. I don't want to watch them play.
Yeah. And you know what? You didn't like platformers, and you
I
didn't really
don't
care
like
for
platformers.
shooters, and
I
oh,
don't like platformers. I still don't.
okay. Well then, seeing as you don't like platformers, what do you like? Because I see that you've been playing some games over the last week.
No, really not very much. I've been, of course, still doing the Mortal Kombat X card game because I'm hopelessly addicted to that. And I've been finishing up Lego Jurassic World on PS4 and Vita. I've officially gotten a platinum trophy in both of them. So I'm going to be ready, like, after this. That's one reason why I kind of dressed up a little nicer today. Not my yoga stuff. Was to, so I'm actually going to be filming my review of the strategy guide this afternoon.
Hooray!
Yes. So I figured,
Video reviews.
yeah.
We might be moving on.
Oh no, I still like to write, but for my opinions for this guide, I feel like a video is better. It's better for this one. But so yeah, I mean, I was hoping to have started The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, just reviewing that on PS4, and I would be if I had stopped playing Lego Jurassic World, but I was just kind of in the zone and more thought about Ethan Carter's like that's like a serious exploration murder mystery game. I'm not ready for that right now. I can't dial that back. I need to because I have to get to work on that. But that's really all I've been doing. What about you?
I played some more Mortal Kombat X. I'm taking a cue from Sonic Fox, and I really enjoy Aaron Black, but I've always played not Outlaw, the two gun version. So I've always played that where he has the rifle, and I usually play a lame zoning game. I'm the fireball guy, so I really liked what I saw when I've always enjoyed what I've seen of Sonic Fox with his Outlaw version of Aaron Black. So I'm starting to work on that, getting used to having the whole sword and not being able to really lame out people. So
Oh man, when
started
you
doing
start
that.
doing that combo with the sword, it's like epic. It's over because he would,
Yeah.
especially if he was able to chain that combo where he'd stab them and immediately get on top of them and then you shoot them in the face multiple times. So like, yeah, because he just does that on loop.
Yeah, and then if he drops down the caltrops and does the sword,
Oh my god.
there's so much dot going on there. It's yeah, his Aaron Black is ridiculous. So I'm working on learning Outlaw and starting to adjust to that. And I'm also playing Predator, trying to figure out which version I really like. Predator's for me a difficult character just because his combo, like his moves are all relative, they're pretty much all the same except for you press a different button and you get a different result. uh, so I'm trying to figure him out and figure out which character which rendition of him I really like. So been playing that, been spending a lot of time in the lab, as they call it, in the FGC, otherwise known as training.
Oh, that's where I need to hang out. I need to go hang out in the training room and work on the executing the breakers because that was the very first time I was able to see how the breakers worked.
Oh yeah.
All. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, why aren't you doing the X-ray? Is the X-ray not allowed? Why are they not doing it? And I realized it's because they're saving up their energy bars to do the brakes.
Yeah.
I've never really done the brakes, so I was able to see how that worked.
Yeah, it's a big, yeah, doing those is a big risk because You have three bars and no breaker takes two of them. So, but
Well, versus the X-ray would
free,
take all three.
yeah. So,
I only saw an X-ray, I think, 2 or 3 times. I really didn't see. It was to the point like I really thought that maybe they weren't allowed because I didn't
uh,
see anybody use them. But
yeah. Let's see. I also played some more Drive Club. It's starting to grow on me actually. As I play a little bit more, there is that aspect of I actually have like two friends on there, so every once in a while I'll be driving, doing a race, and all suddenly it's like shows me a person on my friends list that has done something. So not only am I trying to beat the game or win that race, I'm now trying to beat their times or whatever they've done. So it's starting to grow on me. Visually, it's actually a really stunning game. Racing, I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to that. So I'm still holding. It was free, so I mean, I'm glad I didn't spend $60 on it so far, but it's starting to grow on me. Uh, Also been playing both Wolfensteins, the New Order and the Old Blood. I started the Old Blood because it's like I don't have a whole lot of time, and I'm on like I got too much other shit going on, so I got to start it now. So I really want to play the Old Blood just with the pipe. I loved the first two chapters where I was just crawling around with a pipe and just stabbing shit and killing people and trying to be all sneaky about it. Then it just continuously starts to get harder. I was like, after I did I restarted a checkpoint 3 or 4 times because I kept getting seen.
mhm.
It's just like, fuck it, give me your gun. I'm just gonna blow everybody up now.
Yeah,
But there's so much enjoyment at like sneaking around, even on the dogs, where if you could sneak up on a dog and
you're a
take them
horrible
out.
human being. I hated killing the dogs. It broke my heart every time.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, it's not fun, but at the same point, I don't want them killing me either. So it's either me or them, so they're going. Uh, I really like the giant mechanical monsters that or guys that walk around and have that their power cord strung up.
Oh, fuck those guys, man.
Oh, that was so much fun where you sneak up on them and then you cut their power. It did
Oh,
take a
so
little bit cutting
you
there.
haven't gotten to the ones that don't need that.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh,
No, I that's one of the reasons why I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and
uh, the guys who aren't on the court, oh man, I'd see them, like, I'm gonna cry.
I have found out that I have found myself listening to conversations a lot in this game,
Yes, they're funny.
and they are long conversations too. Like it's not like a just a 30-second ordeal. Some of these go on for 3 or 4 minutes where you're just like, okay, yeah, okay, so she really wants her wine. That's
Yeah.
cool. No, she really wants her wine. Oh, you're flirting with her. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. She requested her wine again. Just like,
Well,
so
well, and since you've now played the New Order and the Old Blood, so you like how the Old Blood makes fun of how BJ's soliloquies?
yeah,
He
it,
starts talking about getting candy. I'm like, wait, what? Doesn't sound serious.
it's so entertaining. I wish that we could use a pipe in the new order, but
You
whatever.
didn't need the pipe in the New Order.
Yeah, still be fun. I have noticed that in the old blood, the detection is so random. Like I could be hiding in a spot and people will walk by me, no problem. I'll hide in a similar spot in a different area, and all of a sudden I've got like alarms going off and people shooting at me, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in an air duct and I'm away from the hole, but you can still see me. That's way to go, team. Good team. Good job, guys. So, but yeah, I'm really glad that I picked both of these games up. I'm glad it was like $40 when I picked them up. It was one of those gold deals, kind of like what you sent me yesterday with the Forza games. So I've been very much enjoying these, and I will very much. I'm looking forward to completing both of them. Don't know that I'm gonna. I will probably do the new order twice just so I can see what happens if I kill the other person, just to see how things kind of play out a little bit differently. But I mean, the game looks absolutely. The game is gorgeous looking. The old blood is very entertaining if you can sit there and listen to people before somebody finds you and then tries to kill you.
It's entertaining because it makes fun of
Oh yeah.
everything. And
Yep.
everything that even the last game did, it makes fun of that. That's one reason why I really enjoyed it. Have you gotten to that the boss fight yet with the guy with the dogs?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Wait till you get to that.
I'm like tracking him down right now.
Okay, okay.
So he's like drug person to a dog and fed him. So
Yes, that was disturbing. And it's like, and you're kind of watching. Like, it's like I took a screenshot of this. I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" Because I think like BJ's like up, he's like, tied up, and you see the dog just munching on the guy in the corner. It's like, can you stop that right now? Like, no. Like, seriously, I have to look at that. I can still hear it. Just no.
yeah. So I don't know I don't know how far I am in, like how close I am to getting him, but I started playing that the other day. So, and last but not least, Journey came out on PS4 yesterday, and I am playing that again. I fully plan on platinuming this game like I did the first one because the trophies are not the same. Well, some of them are the same, but they're not console. They are console specific, is what they are. So I'm working back through that. I am glad that they took away that fucking one where you have to try to convince a random player to sit down with you for 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Because I got really lucky on that one. But yeah, so now I just need to find somebody that towards the end of the game we go through it together, so that way I get that achievement where play it. I've already got meet 10 new people, but man, the game, it's a simple game and it looked really good on PS3, but man, it looks so good on PS4. There's little subtles like the sand is definitely a lot more glistening. You can see a lot more of the grain. uh, Everything is much smoother, colors are a lot better. Just man, this game was so good. Yeah, I'll be playing this at lunch again. So it's $15 or
No,
cross-buy,
it
as I
was
found out.
crossfire, yeah.
So no reason not to have it. So if you've already bought it on PS3, enjoy your free version and go and enjoy you know the visual increase.
See, I'm just waiting for it to come on.
Vita.
Yeah,
I'll buy it on Vita too.
it'll probably be crossfire.
It probably will, hopefully, but yeah, I still need to get Geometry Wars 3 on my Vita, so or is that PS3? I forget. I need to get it either way, but
I think it's on Vita.
yeah,
I need to put it on there too. Is that crossfire?
I have no idea. I know one of them was PS Plus, and I think that was the Vita version.
Maybe it was the Vita. Okay, yeah, yes, it is. Yep, it's still there. It's still there listed as free. So
Get it. So with that, we're done. Take us
yeah,
home, Carrie.
I think I already purchased it. I'm going to double check just because like I can't I can't put it on my right now, but at least when I've got it purchased so that when I'm ready, it'll just be there. Oh, good. Mark is purchased. Thank you. It's not cross-buy. That's interesting because PS3, because I have it on PS4 already, but saying I still need to buy it for PS3. Well, I won't because I'm kind of not turning on my PS3 unless I have to. But with that, all right, wrap up this thing, and so I can actually get to work today. Man, what a fucking day. Leave us a comment on this post if you have anything you would like us to talk about, or you can email me at strategyguidereviews@gmail.com. You can follow each of us and listen to our other ramblings. Chris is at Starvin. I am at Crunchy Chocobo, and the site is at Strategy Reviews. And keep on reading, keep on listening. We're gonna record the Book of the Month Club tomorrow.
Yay, drunken shenanigans.
But I probably won't be drunk. I'll just do that spoiler alert because I'm going out for my birthday on Friday, so I can't really want to drink very much on Thursday. I did that last Friday, and I was suffering all day Saturday. So bad. I'm too old for this shit, man. Too old. Yeah. And that's my sign off. I'm too old for this shit.
Too old for this shit.
Yes.
Well, with Carrie being too old for this shit, we're out. Peace.